Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Maria Gonçalves podcast. I'm your host, Maria Gonçalves, and today we have a special episode. We are doing a Christmas special where we get to talk about Christmas, one of my favorite holidays. And I have all these incredibly gifted mediums from around the world joining us. So I will let each one of them introduce themselves. I'm going to start off with Dayna.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Dayna Louise, and I'm a psychic medium here in Central West New South Wales in Australia. And I'm just delighted to be here on such a lovely topic and have an opportunity to wear the elf hat. Who could say no?
I love it. And Michelle.
Oh, hey, everybody. My name is Michelle Falcone. I am a psychic medium and energy worker, and I live in near Cleveland, Ohio. Um, Today was the first snow that we've had this season, so this is so appropriate. Very excited to be here with these beautiful, talented women.
Thank you, Michelle. And Keshette.
Hello, everyone. My name is Keshette Burton, Soul Connections with Keshette, and I'm as well a psychic medium. And I'm in Dallas, Texas. I do in person or over Zoom, and I am tongue-tied. Hello. I haven't even had this special jingle sauce. I am so excited to be here with all these amazing, talented ladies. I am wearing my jingle holiday sweater and just so ready to dive in.
Thank you. And Liliana.
Hi, I'm getting over a cold, so you guys make me, might hear me cough a little bit. I'm originally from Mexico. I'm a psychic medium and a Reiki master. I live in LA, and I am so, so happy to be here with this amazing woman, to talk about Christmas and holidays and traditions. I love it.
I love it too. So, my first question to you ladies is, does everybody here celebrate Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
And I am curious because we all have different backgrounds, different countries, your family traditions, what are they like?
Well, can I jump in?
Yeah.
I was going to say our Christmas Day is traditionally based off, English, a very English Christmas. We'd have the hot lunch and then we'd keep the cold meats for the Boxing Day. But that has kind of changed over the last 20 years. There's more of a laid back approach now. I think some of the traditions are changing as some of the family units are shifting or joint families, or people are more scattered or less able to get home. We're kind of time poor now, aren't we? With a lot more work, a lot more pressure, chasing a tail. And so I see that there's a lot more like seafood and easy things where everyone gets to relax, because we have our Christmas in summer. So it's, beers, seafood, go to the beach if you can, or at least jump in the pool or get wet or cool down. But yeah, we still do the Christmas pudding, the Christmas cake, that still happens. And then we always have, the desserts that we would normally have. So it's a bit of a set menu, but I've gotten a bit more relaxed over the years as the kids are getting older. And I want to relax on Christmas time. So I try and prep as much as I can beforehand so I get to enjoy the day too. But I'm keen to hear the experience of a white Christmas. I've never had one. I would love to have one. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what it's like for everyone else to enjoy their Christmas.
That's so wild to have a Christmas with no snow. I can't even imagine that.
Imagine.
There was a photograph on social media and I saw out where I live, but it was further out in the bush. And, not everyone's got an in-ground swimming pool in these small sort of satellite communities. And there was people on a ute back of a vehicle with a tray. And I think they put down concreting plastic and kind of sealed it in and filled it up with a garden hose. And there was all these people having beers, but trying to cool down, because sometimes we can hit like 40 degrees on a summer day. So yeah, a little bit of a different experience. So it's hot. It can be hot. Yeah, we have bushfire season around this sort of time as well, around Christmas. So yeah, hot, dry, air conditioning's on, that's for sure. And Australians do like to have a drink. I've worn my little celebration earrings today. I like to have a wine or a beer. That's very much the Australian culture, I think, maybe because of the weather as well around that time. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's beautiful. So Michelle, how about you? What's Christmas like with your family?
Oh, so every year since I've been small, bar none, and it's been, 50 some odd years, every year we go get a live Christmas tree. We do get one we used to go out and we used to go to this place where you could get in a sled and they'd take you out to the field and then you'd spend, your morning looking for the tree that you wanted and everybody's arguing. It should be this one. No, it should be that. Good naturedly, Then you cut the tree down and you put it on the sled and they take you back to the barn and they shake the tree and they tie it to the top of your car and you have like hot cocoa and cookies. And then you go home and traditionally put the tree up. So my children are all grown now, so we don't go searching for a Christmas tree. And we would always go to places that would replant the trees, Now we go to ones that the trees are cut and we pick nice trees. We all go together now. Everybody's got their own house. So we all converge to the Christmas tree farm, buy our trees, come home, set them up. There's nothing like a live Christmas tree. It's beautiful. It smells good. It's festive. You keep it watered, something really beautiful and alive in your house. And then traditionally Christmas Eve, we go to church Christmas Eve because I love the choirs singing. They have such beautiful choirs. We go to midnight mass on Christmas Eve. Beautiful choir. Usually it's cold here in Ohio. If you're lucky, it snows and it's beautiful. And then we come home and we open one gift. You get to pick one gift. And then in the morning, everybody goes to sleep in the morning. It's amazing because Santa comes in the middle of the night still.
Yay.
Fills up the stockings and when people wake up, everybody gets to open their stocking in the morning. So a tradition from when my kids were small, the adults could sleep and we open presents and then somebody usually has Christmas dinner. We go over there. There's always the ham or turkey discussion. My family is traditionally Italian, so we used to have a lot of Italian food when we would go to my grandparents' house. It was all
Did you guys do
pasta.
7 fishes?
Yeah, that's a big deal to do the 7 fishes. Yes. The anise cookies are the big deal too. Do you have those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I know what anise is. I know what star anise is, but I've never seen those. So what is the significance of the 7 fishes?
I don't know what the formal tradition is. It's just one of those things that you do, but there's 7 different dishes that are made from seafood
Mm.
and you get to pick what they are. It's just something fun to do. Maybe that was a tradition in Italy where it's a little more coastal. I mean, I'm in the Midwest, so there's no coast here really.
Curious because you were talking about natural trees. What makes because you were like, we pick a great tree. Like, what makes the tree like that's the one?
It depends on the year. Like sometimes you just know. It's kind of like when you see it. I used to get really big, tall trees when my kids were small. We had a vaulted ceiling, got a 14-foot tree, put every single decoration that we had on there. Now that I'm a little older and everybody's left and I'm living in a smaller home, it's kind of the shape of the tree. I like the soft needle trees because cleaning them up is a lot easier. And this year I have a new kitten, so that's going to be an interesting adventure because they like to climb the Christmas tree.
Oh, that is so cute. And Keshette, how about you? What's Christmas like at your home?
So, I as a child celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas. I got the best of both worlds. And sometimes, most of the time, they fall right in line with each other. And so being Jewish, but having a Cuban stepmom, I was able to just have different experiences on different cultural levels. So Christmas Eve, so I grew up in Vegas. We did not have white Christmases unless you go up to the mountains. And occasionally, every so often, we would go up to Mount Charleston where they had a lodge up there, and they would have, I think it was like Swiss, it was like a Swiss theme with the oh my gosh, I can see the outfits with like the suspenders and the big beers. Anyway, so that was always fun. And as a little, they would take us sledding. So that was always a good one. But Christmas Eve looked like a Cuban Christmas. So it was the majority of the Cuban family, some of my Jewish family, but they did pulled pork, beans and rice, jicama, which I love. And no, I'm sorry, yuca, which I love. And then we would have hors d'oeuvres and whatnot. We would also do cookies for Santa. Now, I don't remember carrots for the reindeer for myself, but I think for my brother and sister, when I was older, I think for my brother and sister, we left carrots for the reindeer. I don't know if anyone else left veggies for the reindeer. So the next morning was more of that Jewish, a little bit of Jewish flair. So every time I visit Vegas, since I don't live there anymore, my dad gets chopped chicken liver because my grandma used to make it authentically in the grinder and everything. So my dad tries to find a good New York style deli in Vegas, chopped chicken liver, and we use that on crackers. And then we also do mimosas. Christmas morning, we have to have them. Also like caviar on little breads with the sour cream and however one would traditionally make it. Of course, waking up doing presents. And then extended family comes over. We have a brunch. We get drunk, play games. The guys have the sports on. So that's typically what a Christmas would look like growing up. And as you guys mentioned, as we get older, traditions change. You know, it's not quite the same. And I think that, like for me, I try to hang on to some of that as much as possible because those were some of my best memories. I think where I felt like the most like warmth and togetherness because everyone put their best face forward to make an effort to be together and celebrate, I don't know. I think just being joyful and being together and now everyone's very much separated. So I have tried to instill a little bit of tradition in my house. So during the pandemic in 2020, I was like, this sucks. This is horrible. What is the holiday going to look like? This is, we need some Christmas cheer in this house. So for the first time ever, I went and got a huge Christmas tree with my husband. I wanted a 9-footer. My husband said, we're going 12 foot. I said, fine. Now, I would love a live tree, but I have asthma. I have been around a live tree and those live trees and my asthma do not go well. So we had to go with the artificial. So now I just do a tree, I do beautiful garland and just, make it my own. So that's what I do.
That is beautiful. How about you, Liliana? What's Christmas like for you?
Wow, I've been listening to all of you guys, and my Christmas is so different, very, very traditional Mexican. And Mexico is mostly a very Catholic country. So the way we celebrated it, I was just thinking about it. I've been thinking about it because we're going to be doing this. We used to get together at my grandmother's, where she was living. She was living with one of my aunts. And so what we did is, first of all, we have a traditional Christmas tree, with a lot of ornaments and stuff, and we have to have always a nativity, that's very important, whether it's a small one or a big one. She used to go all out with all kinds of, like all the different characters, and the animals and everything. And so before we actually, were able to, have the dinner and do all the things, we basically had to do the adoration of the baby Jesus. So that meant that, every 3 years, a couple usually gets assigned to be the godmother and the godfather of the baby Jesus. And it's usually like whatever size, baby the family decides to get. And so they're gonna get an outfit every year for those 3 years. They also get candy, to adore the baby. And that means that after we do a rosary, everybody, all the families will go there with their kids, and we will pray a whole rosary. They will actually put the baby on a pedestal, and it will have candy there. And so each person will go in and kiss the baby and get a candy. And so after that, we actually were for the kids, they had a piñata, they had bag of candy for each one of us, and we just, it was a celebration. Basically, it was the birthday of Jesus every year, and that's what we did. And then after that, of course, we went and had dinner and did all the things, and the next morning we had gifts and that kind of thing. But it was really mostly, it was very much so that we could understand the real meaning, I guess, for as Catholics of what Christmas was about, about the whole birth of Jesus and what that all meant. And it's different now. I live in another country, of course. I'm in the US, so I don't have that, but I still have my little nativity. I do my Christmas tree, and I try to have some of that. My family is very small. I just have one son. Um, so it's different. But I know that if I were to go home, they still do it every year. My grandmother is she's she's in the spirit world now, but that's another way we get to honor her too, because that was so important to her. That was the thing that she did. Very traditional tamales. All the daughters will make get together to make the tamales. And other dishes that are very typical. Cookies that are also very Mexican style, and other desserts that are all like that, and it was all handmade. Everybody chipped in, everybody helped. If you were getting older, eventually you had a job to do, like you will help make the tamales in some way. So that was my Christmas. That was every year.
I love that. You actually reminded me of my own Christmas growing up. So I came over to Canada, I don't know, I think I was like 4 or 5 years old. I was like super young, but we incorporated the Portuguese traditions, again, being super Catholic, because Portugal is all about the Virgin Mary. And I remember Christmas Eve, it's the nativity scene, and my parents would look for moss outside, because tradition is you get the moss from the outside. And I actually went shopping today, and I don't know what store I was in, and I saw the tree moss. Oh yeah, it was one of those stores that sell Christmas tree, because we were looking for flowers, and it's the moss with the nativity scene. So we have that every year. But growing up, it was about baby Jesus. Like over the years, then you go to kindergarten, and then the Canadian way is Santa Claus. And then my parents be like, what is a Santa Claus? That's not a baby Jesus. And I remember because we were so poor when we came to Canada, And my mom would be like, "Hey, put out your shoe because baby Jesus is gonna come and give you candy." So because it's winter in Canada, we had our Sunday boots that were tall up to our knees. So me and my sister would put out our Sunday boots by the TV because we didn't have a fireplace. Because the higher your boot, the more candy you got in there. And it was candy from baby Jesus. And I know some of my family would do the midnight mass, like the Catholic midnight mass. That was
Mm.
not us. We like my parents like to have us in bed early, so we didn't do that. But we would do the Christmas mass, and the Christmas mass, there's always, and I think one year I was something in the nativity scene because they would pick like the kids to be the shepherd children, the Mary, the Jesus, whoever had a new baby that year in the church. If they wanted to volunteer, their baby would be uh the baby Jesus. So there would be a live family, a live baby, everybody dressed in costume on Christmas Day. And then they would have the baby Jesus. And Liliana, we have a lot of baby Jesus. When my mom goes to Portugal, she's like, "You can't believe the big baby." And I'm just like, "What do we do with all these baby Jesus?" But
Yes.
in I don't know if they still do that because we would go to St. Mary's Church here in our city, and it was a Catholic Portuguese church, but then after COVID, I think they stopped doing that. But on Christmas Day, when you go up to get the host, there would be another section where you're celebrating the birth of baby Jesus and you're going up and you're kissing baby Jesus. Yeah, I can't see them doing that now because we would all get sick. And they would just wipe the baby Jesus with a little cloth, be like, "Next." And like 1,000 people are kissing the same baby, and you all had to kiss it on the knee. And so you just reminded me of those beautiful traditions. But being Portuguese, the night before, it's all about the fish. So I know some of you were talking about the fish. So that's all you're allowed to eat the night before is the fish. And then there is this traditional, so it'd be codfish with rapini, potatoes, and olives. And then your dessert would be a Christmas cake, like a fruit cake, but the fruit cake would have something in it. I know now a lot of bakeries will put jewelry in there. So now that $20 Christmas cake is now like $200 because you're going to find gold in there. But it'd be some kind of trinket. So whoever cut through the Christmas cake, and if you got the trinket in your slice of cake, next year it was your responsibility to bring that Christmas cake to Christmas dinner or to Christmas Eve dinner. And then the next day, for Christmas Day, the tradition would be a roasted piglet. And that's when the turkey meats. It's all about meat on Christmas Day. But Christmas Eve, you're only allowed to eat fish. Because there was this, I remember my mom saying when we were growing up, it's like you have to show God the sacrifice. So you have to eat less. So it would be about the fish. And then on Christmas Day, you could feast. Because it was a big deal. Because back then, like living on the coastline in Portugal, fish is in abundance, right? And meat is like super expensive. So you would only have meat on Christmas Day or like on Easter Day, like only on celebration days. Other than that, you ate fish all year long, which is not a bad thing to get back into. It's super healthy, anyways. And it's all seafood. So I love it. What's not to love? It's seafood.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you
I
remind me.
love all these cultural differences from around the world, even just with the five of us. Christmas looks different in different little ways. But Maria, I'm interested also because we talked about it before we started today, but you have your own, not cultural traditions, but your family created themes,
Yeah, for
themes
Christmas
for Christmas
Day.
Day.
So, to make it fun. So one year we did the ugly Christmas sweater. So here we go. I got one for this year. I may convince him to do it again. We all get new sweaters. Another Christmas, it was just the kids all had to have fun Christmas hats or elf ears, just something fun. One year was Christmas Eve was pajama day. So everybody had to come with pajamas. So we
Oh.
try and make it fun for the kids. And then a few years ago, I started the tradition of making Christmas. Well, we didn't make them. I would buy it because I don't make it. But the gingerbread houses. And then we would have, I would buy one for each one of the kids, and the nieces and nephews, and then it'd be a competition to see who can make the prettiest gingerbread house, and it still stand because I find those boxes don't bring enough icing, so then
Right.
everything would like fall apart. But we got my niece Ashley, who's super creative. My son is super creative, and they could spend hours because on Christmas Day, like we'll get together early in the morning and we're together for the whole day till the evening. So we'll have like Christmas lunch, then we'll watch Christmas movies, the whole family together, take family portraits, to create those memories. And then the kids start decorating. They're already expecting the gingerbread houses. And then some years, because I just buy this stuff pre-packed because I don't know how to make it. And then one year I got super creative and I was like, okay, we're going to make Christmas cookies. That was so much
Ooh.
work. Didn't do that again. I was like, I ain't doing this again. And then two, my son is born December 23rd. So we would have birthday party December 23rd. So the family gets together for that birthday party. Then the next day, the 24th. So I find by the 25th, the afternoon, everybody is pooped. They're all exhausted because we're going 3 days of partying, not 2. So yeah.
I think there's lots of sleeping that happens after a Christmas lunch here in Australia. Everyone seems to vacate and find little spots of quiet just to shut their eyes. Kids are always playing somewhere, but the adults tend to have that snooze because, I hope there's no little ears listening, but quite often with a Santa, when the children were growing up, there might be a trampoline to put together at a swing set, and you'd be out there till 2 in the morning trying to put it together on top of doing the early morning with the kids. So by Christmas afternoon, you're exhausted. What does everyone else's Christmas afternoon look like? Do you do the Christmas lunch or the Christmas dinner? How does it look for you, Michelle?
Usually after dinner, everybody kind of pitches in to clean up, and then we all start playing board games. And
Oh, that's
it's just
nice.
something really fun to bring everybody together. Yeah, so that's what we do after Christmas dinner. What about the rest of you guys?
We do the same as well. We do a brunch and uh, back with my Vegas family, we do brunch and friends and family trickle in as they can because some have their own family with their littles that they want to do at their house and then they come over. So it's come whenever you can and then you just nosh whenever you can. So it's not like an official sit down. But same thing, it's kind of like it's open bar and then at some point one of us cousins says, okay, who's ready to get the games out? Because it breaks it all up and we get to just be silly together. Like one year we did that game where you stick the like dental plastic thing in your mouth and you have to say a word and you have to figure out what it is. Oh, we nearly peed our pants. It was so much fun. That's what we do. And then probably about I don't know, I would say like 10:30 people start to leave. But it's like a 10-hour thing. So
Yeah, same us. And then I have 2 puppies, so they get a new Christmas outfit and they get Christmas costumes. Last year, one was a Christmas tree, the other one was a reindeer. Then they have Christmas sweaters. Like I go all out, people. Like I'm all about Christmas.
I love it.
Does anybody else have pets and do you dress them up for Christmas like me? Yes?
I do. I have a little dog. She has a little Christmas dress that she uses. And then my bigger dog, he has a Christmas sweater. He looks like a little old man in it, but it's cold outside at that time. So, they've got to be dressed like everybody else.
I agree.
Well, it's hot here in Australia, so that doesn't really roll with our dogs. They'd be getting themselves out of anything you try to put them on. But we always leave out, for the kids especially, Santa thought of the pets as well. It's a treat or a dog bone, whatever, left for the pets. But I'm just curious too, because I know that we talked about, Jesus being the focus of Christmas with the cultural belief, and it is in Australia as well. We still do the mass and whatnot, but Santa, of course, is very big. You've got children and kids. Did you ever get out the night before and do the old marks in the ground for the sleigh? Or I bought every Christmas night I've had to chomp carrots and kind of spit them out across the yard.
That's so fun.
And you'll get to a point you think, gosh, I forgot to do the carrots. So you're out there at like 11:30 at night going crunch, crunch, throwing them out in the grass. So yeah, and we would always leave a piece of cake out for Santa and a little bit of milk or sometimes some ginger ale because he did have to dry the slate, couldn't be alcoholic. So that was always great. And that was one of the first things the kids would check, you know, did he eat it? And we'd say, well, that's why he got so fat. He's going to all these places. But yeah, I won't lament not having to chomp down half a bag of carrots and spit them out the night before. This is my last Christmas with a believer. So that's where the magic is sometimes, isn't it? So last time I'll be making sleigh threads, I think, and throwing glitter around or magical stuff.
So I've got a question for you, Dayna. You have no snow. Like, how do you make sleigh marks?
With whatever's handy. Usually there's a shovel or a stick. And you kind of make a big long one and you find spaces where the grass isn't growing because sometimes it's drought and the grass does die off under trees. So you always try and find a spot where it makes logical sense. The sleighs come in this way. And then, of course, you can do the most obvious marks in the ground. The kids will come up and go, oh, look, the sleigh's been over here, and it's some random. It's like, what? I spent 15 minutes measuring these marks and making it believable. And then I have to get the hoof marks, you know, and time those, you know, so the strides. So, you know, all the little things we do as parents. And sometimes, you know, there was this infamous teddy I had growing up, had a really fluffy head. You'd shake it and fizz up. It was the most amazing hair. I think it was, you know, the Easter Bunny hair. And it was also the beard from Santa. So that'd get sprinkled around. It's nearly bald now, that teddy, but it did a wonderful job because the kids thought it was fabulous and they got the same thing every year. So it just helped them believe a little bit more.
Oh, that is wild. So do you guys have Santa Claus parades in Australia?
Sorry, what was that, Maria?
Do you have Santa Claus parades in Australia?
Christmas parades. Well, they do the carols by candlelight. That's a big thing where the community comes together, maybe in the main park here, and you know everyone has a candle and sings along, and that's a big community event. I can't remember a Christmas parade as such, although sometimes randomly different groups, like say the Lions Club or something, would get a vehicle together and someone would dress up as Santa and they'd drive around the town beeping the horn or playing Christmas music, throwing out lollies to kids. So that would just be you'd know a day before and the word would get around, you know, Santa's coming around at this time in this area, so have your kids out the front. But that would be just volunteer groups doing that and randomly being Santas. But we still do the Christmas lights. That goes on for weeks before Christmas. And I think it's the Australian way. The lights stay up a little bit longer than normal. So they don't go down the next day. It's like they're up for the holiday season. And we, you know, drive around here locally in Dubbo. There's a sort of a horse and carriage and they take people out so you can see the lights by horse and sulky. So that's another lovely thing. Yeah, so it's just completely different. It's really hot. But you're not sort of kept indoors. You can move around and I guess you haven't got the worry of snow or cold weather. But I'm interested, always in the movies, not having done a lot of traveling myself. You see the carolers coming up and standing in front of homesteads singing. Does that happen where you all live?
Here in LA, it happens. Yes, you know, in the malls, you know, you always see they start coming out, you know, as soon, you know, as when it gets closer to the, you know, to the actual holiday, you know, you see that. But it's so interesting to me to hear some of these different costumes. Like I never heard of, you know, the thing with the carrots and the slates and all that. That's like, wow, I never even like, wow. Yeah, we, you know, in Mexico is, you know, we there are areas that get cold, but yeah, we don't have anything like that. That's, you know, of course we have Santa and all that, and but yeah, nothing that I can remember, you know. So that's very interesting to hear that.
We have carolers in the mall in December. And then
Okay.
there is a city called Niagara on the Lake. I haven't gone yet because it's a touristy town. It's beautiful. It's very like Anne of Green Gables. Like it's beautiful. It's a quaint, gorgeous town by the lake, close to Niagara Falls, which is another touristy thing. But on the weekend, they're supposed to have carolers there. I've gone during the Christmas season, but not in the evening. And it's like a storybook. You feel like you're in a Disney movie. It is so beautiful. And this town is known for having carolers there. So I think that's beautiful. And I know like in Toronto, I went to some festival last year and they had Christmas carolers just singing. So it's incorporated into some of the Christmas festivals. So that is very beautiful. So it'd be cool to hear from Michelle and Keshette. Do they have Christmas carolers where you guys are?
We have same as that you said, the mall. But I think also Christmas carolers visit some of the elderly homes to bring them cheer. I don't know of any neighborhoods where they go door to door. It's usually like arranged with purpose. But I think that would be cool every so often if they did go door to door. But no, same malls and elderly homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, here they go visit like nursing homes and assisted living homes too. But then usually cities have like some of the cities have like a little thing that they'll put on in the square. They usually have a great big nativity scene and all the trees are lit up in the square of each different little city. And then they'll have like a little program where one night they'll act out the nativity scene, and then another night they'll have carolers singing so that everybody in the community can come and listen to the carolers sing and sing along with them too. Yeah, so I was curious, do any of you guys do white elephant gifts?
No.
No.
You know what that is?
Yes.
I don't. I don't know what that
No.
is. Mm-mm.
So a white elephant gift is when you have everybody who's coming to your home, or everybody who's coming to your gathering, you tell them to bring a gift that's $5 or $10, like no more than that. And you just get the absolute silliest gift you can possibly find, and you wrap it, and everybody puts their gift on the table, and the gift has a number at the bottom, and then you put all the numbers in a little box and you mix them all up, and you get to draw the number, and that's the gift that you get. And it's always the most creative, silliest, like amazing thing ever.
That's
I
fun.
like the ideas of that. We do Secret Santa. As you get older and the family's getting bigger, you just can't buy for everyone all the time. So, you get your one person, but they don't know who's buying for them. So you can do it that way, and they don't know who they get the gift from. So that's another nice way of doing it when you've got a bigger Christmas. But I do like the idea of the silly gifts.
Yeah, it's just something fun. And then another tradition here, I don't know if you guys have this, but usually this happens in the churches or the community centers. They'll have trees that have people's names on them, and they're like hanging, like they're written on a piece of paper. They make it kind of look like an ornament. And you can go and you can pick a name, and it has like a child's name or an adult's name, and it says what they really need or what they really want. And then you can go buy those things and come back with a wrapped gift of what was asked for and put it under the tree. So it's a really nice way to give back to the community when, for people who don't have the luxury of having such a luxurious Christmas.
True.
They had that at our church when my kids were younger. It would just say female or male and their age. And if they were a senior, right, or young kids. So when my kids were in elementary school, we always picked the teenagers because nobody wants to buy for teenagers. Everybody wants to buy the cute little dolls and the fire trucks. So then I would pick like the teenagers or the elderly. And I would tell my kids, okay, what do you think a 16-year-old girl wants, or a 16-year? And we put gift certificates, chocolates, hats, mittens, because one of the things I know too, because then when my kids were teenagers, like we would pick the teenagers, obviously for us, but teenagers are hard to buy for, and they want their own money too. They don't want to feel like when they go to the mall that like, oh, I'm poor, we're struggling. So we would always put gift certificates to the mall in those gifts and wrap them up too, because I thought that was important for them to have that shopping experience with their friends too. And it's like, here's money, go buy what you want for you.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so
Yeah,
lovely.
we used to do it all the
I used to
time.
do something like that. That it's become a tradition for us here in my home, in LA, with my husband. We've been doing it for, a number of years where we actually, on the 24th, we have a lot of gifts that we take to a place where there is, people that are homeless, or it's a recovery home or something like that. We have something called the Midnight Mission, and they make a big thing there. So that's a really, I was just reminded of that tradition that we have, installed in our family, something that we can do, and then it's a great thing. You always feel good after, for
I
sure.
Yeah, I also like, for those that are listening, and that uh for Christmas time, like if you know a family is struggling and you're very well off, or you're doing okay, not to forget those other kids that don't have so much, or charities are looking for extra help. It doesn't have to be money. Maybe they're looking for extra volunteers. Sometimes volunteering in senior homes, and seniors just want an extra visit. I know when my dad was in a day program before he went to the nursing home, the children at Christmas time, with the elementary school is across the street. So the children would come over and they would volunteer, and they would color Santa pictures with my dad. My dad, he's so funny, because all the other seniors like, yeah, I get to color pictures. And my dad would see little kids and be like, you color my art and we'll pretend I did it. You give it to all the little kids, and he come home with all this artwork. I go, Dad, did you color that? He's like, no. He goes, I got all the little kids to color it. He'd be like, and this was a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. And he'd come home so happy. And I know they have those programs in some schools visiting senior homes, because some of the seniors, they no longer have families. Some of them were only children, their parents have passed. They don't have cousins, brothers, or I know my dad's nursing home, there was a gentleman there, and all his family had already passed, and his friends. So those extra visits make a big difference. So it doesn't have to always have to cost something, just your time, or calling up a friend and checking in on them, because then, we're talking about family celebrations, and we're very blessed. We all have families and we all have traditions, but then also remembering not everybody has that. Some people are alone during the holidays. So sometimes the holidays are harder for people. And I remember when I purchased my first home, uh the little old lady, she's so cute. Her husband had passed away and her son lived very, very far. So we would invite her over for Christmas dinner so she wasn't alone. So just doing these
That's
little
lovely.
acts of kindness, whatever they look like for you, you never know what kind of day people are having, and
That's true.
that extra smile, or whatever it is, pay it forward, buy their coffee if they're in line, like something will make a huge difference, because I know some families this year, life isn't as financially easy with the cost of food, the cost of living, and all of that. So just keeping that in mind as we're going through the holiday spirit, and we're so blessed with these huge families, uh, just keeping an eye out for your friends and checking in on them and being like, hey, don't forget to come over, or spending some time with them. Yeah. Does anybody else
I
want
love that, Maria. But
to?
it's not just the older people, is it too? Because I even know in our community, a lot of people that are younger here are traveling for work, and they've got to go back to work and they can't make it home. So there's a lot of people that are younger, middle-aged, like
Yeah.
just think to yourself, someone in the area that you know that, you know, what are you doing for Christmas? And it's just so easy to strike up that conversation. How hard is it to pull another chair or add another plate at the table? And isn't that what Christmas is all about? You know, wanting to join people together and to come to celebrate, and give that gift of joy that, you know, some of us with families have. And Marie, you have a very loud, happy household by the sounds of it.
We're
It sounds very full on.
yeah.
So
I think
I
to
can
the
imagine.
outside, I was gonna say to the outside world, we sound like we're shouting and yelling at each other, but that's us being excited.
Our household is loud as well. There's lots of singing. So one will start randomly singing and another sibling will start. So there's always singing in our household. So our poor neighbours probably think we're the kooky household, but that's all good. But we've got a lot of joy to give too. And I just know that if we just extend that to our next door neighbour or someone that we knew that's lost someone this year, a partner, and they're on their own, they mightn't feel like coming around for that Christmas lunch. But even if you say, okay, that's fine. Well, how about I come and get you and we'll have the cup of tea and the Christmas cake mid-afternoon, just so they have a snippet, and then you give them an out when they're it's okay for them to go again, because, you know, it might be a tough Christmas for them. Particularly, I'm thinking of one lady particularly who lost her husband. To put on that facade and you know, join in, yes, it's lovely, but it's a big effort when they're going through that really deep grieving process. So always giving that out. Come for half an hour and I'll drop you back again. Sometimes helps just bring them out of that house and into your family's love.
I love that.
Yeah, and
So I did want to ask, because as you ladies know, like my dad just passed away Halloween. What a cool holiday to go into the spirit world when we did our Halloween special and the veil is the thinnest. So has anybody here lost a loved one? Because I know some people going into the holidays, maybe it's their first time, or maybe their loved one passed away years ago. Do you have traditions that you use to honor your loved ones, to include them, even though they're in spirit, within your festivities?
I say, as I was saying before, we have these traditions that come, really from my grandmother. So one way that I feel that we honor her is by talking about how she brought up those traditions, and, how, how happy she was to make the food, and to make sure that we were all, doing the praying, and the things the way that she thought it was supposed to be done. So bringing up those memories, some of them are funny, memories, and some of them are, they're just warm your heart. So I think that for me, is remembering those that have passed. My dad also, he didn't pass during the holidays, but he's been missed, like I'm sure yours, Maria. This So we think about him. We talk about him during that day. So yeah.
That is beautiful.
I have heard, oh, sorry, Marie, I jumped in. I was just going to add to that. I have heard that we haven't done it ourselves because our table was always so full and there wouldn't be enough chairs as it was. But I have heard of people, setting a place for their loved one, and honouring them. Whereas more so in our family, it would just naturally evolve, particularly when bonbons were being, there's always mad stories of the bonbons that wouldn't pop, or things flying up and hitting someone in the head, or the hats that would never fit a particular person. I don't know who I'm talking about now, that would rip. But I just know that they were just little opportunities to share the stories. I remember the time when, and so our loved ones are always talked about at the Christmas lunch, because we just know in that moment, oh, they're not physically present, that we can see them right here. But it's automatic. Even children will bring up stories. I remember when Matter, or my grandmother, or, so that it's, and I think, children are so receptive, aren't they, and sensitive, that they automatically mention a name or tell a story or a memory, because really our loved ones are with us. When all family comes together, they're there, and they move the mind of people that aren't even mediums to bring up that random memory. And there's always lots of funny stories and laughter. We mentioned different family members that did particular silly things at Christmas time. So it's always a nice part of our day.
Oh, I love that. I want to buy the little Christmas frames that you put on the Christmas trees and put a picture of my
Oh,
dad. Like I
that's
lost a
lovely.
dog and a cat to spirit. Yes, I am that crazy pet person. And I actually found ornaments that one looked exactly like my cat playing with the Christmas ornaments because Michelle, my cat would get in the tree and try to eat the ornaments and chew on them. And then
That's
I had a little red Pomeranian and I found a little red Pomeranian ornament. So I put that. And then last year I got like little Christmas bones, like in ceramic with their names, like with little wings on it, like angel wings. So this year for my dad, obviously I can't find a statue of him. If anybody knows anybody that creates those, that would be really cool. But I'll put a picture of him because I've seen the little keepsake pictures that people put on the Christmas trees for their own memories and start building almost like an album of fun memories on the
mm.
Christmas tree for
Oh,
ornaments.
that's lovely. I've seen the crystal clear baubles they have, and they can imprint the photo
Oh, I've seen those
behind it.
too. Yeah,
That's beautiful. I just think that's lovely, especially when the Christmas lights are on and there's like snapshots of all the people you love there.
yeah. And how about Keshette and Michelle? Do you ladies have anything to add? We're talking too much on this side.
I was just going to say my favorite Christmas ornaments of all time were given to me by my father-in-law and he did that. There were three different shapes and each one has a picture of one of my children in it when they were very young. And to this day, those are my absolute favorite ornaments to hang up. I think of him. I think of, my kids when they were small. We have Christmas ornaments with dogs that have passed their names on them, little bones that clip onto the tree. And then for
Mm.
my mom, she always loved fishing. So we have a fish ornament for her. Like everybody kind of has an ornament. And when they get hung on the tree, which we decorate all together, we go to each other's houses and we decorate the trees with each other at each different house. And
Nice.
when we take out these ornaments and hang them up, it's like making sure that our loved one is remembered and there for the whole holiday and it symbolizes them and they're represented. So I love that tradition. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, that sounds amazing. How about you, Keshette?
I don't have anything of that sort. My personal Christmas tree in my home in Dallas, is very like Saks Fifth Avenue, New York. Like it's tall and it's rose gold and white, and there's sparkles and feathers and huge bows. And
That's beautiful.
I grew up with a traditional tree with my stepmom and my dad, and so I wanted something different in my home. But when I go back to visit, it's always really nice and nostalgic to see the tree up and all the ornaments that are on there. My stepmom has always done a really good job at printing out pictures of us as littles or as family and put them on ornaments. But um I don't know that we have too many things of memory sake for the loved ones that have been lost.
Mm.
And um I don't really hear that many stories of the loved ones that have been lost around that time. So I think because of growing up with so much physical distance when we are together, I don't know, those just are not things that are brought up. And I wonder if it's some of the family members being uncomfortable or it's just not on their mind in that moment.
Mm.
Um, but no, and again, on my side, it's more the Jewish. So we wouldn't have any Christmas stuff necessarily.
Mm.
Um, so no, we don't. We don't have anything like that.
Well, we can always change that tradition because I was just thinking I'm yet to dress the Christmas tree and I pulled this out last night, remembering that this was on this morning. But one of the most beautiful things on my Christmas tree and the most treasured is three little, they're flat golden filigree dubs of peace. And my grandmother gifted them to me and with a Christmas present. Now, it's so beautiful because it goes on and on. And every time I hang that, I remember the day that she gave it to me. And now you'll have that forever. And then you'll think of me. And it's true. I do to this day. So we can kind of always create our new traditions. So I think I'm going to start buying your own Christmas decorations this year. Maybe I should wait till the after Christmas sales, though.
Oh yes, I
Yeah.
would still. You know, it's interesting you say that. My husband's mom and dad, they have given us a couple of ornaments to put on the tree that go with it. And I do
Oh, that's
have a
nice.
section for that. So, you know, when they pass, we will have that. And I think that is really sweet.
Yeah, lovely.
Oh, that is beautiful. And then two, because we are coming to our close, but I do want to ask about signs from spirit. So for those that are listening and they're wondering, maybe it's their first Christmas, or maybe it's been many years, and they're like, well, what is a sign from spirit? So ladies, what kinds of signs from spirit have you had? I know for me, the day after my dad passed away, I had a visitation dream. And that morning, so November 1st, because he passed away October 31st, I was making breakfast and my dad was walking with me in the kitchen. And then my mom came and spooked him and he went poof out to the spirit world. But until then, I had a nice breakfast with him. And every day I've been getting messages from friends that will call and be like, your dad's in my house. He won't leave me alone. I have to give you a message. Or songs. My dad, every single day I hear a song. And if I'm not listening to a song, I find it so wild the way he does it for me is a friend, like I have a friend in Ireland, Laura, who will call, or other friends, and they'll be like, your dad came and he keeps singing this song. Like, I don't understand why he's bothering me, but I have to tell you. And I was like, there's my song for the day. So every single day I've been getting a message from him, and it's songs. Like, that's my sign for him. So far, it could change. So for you ladies, just to open up people's minds to different ways that our loved ones may connect with us, so they can look for those signs too.
Well, this is a very simple story, but when my Uncle Jimmy, my great Uncle Jimmy, my grandmother's brother, passed, we had them for Christmas lunch, my grandmother and brother, and they would sit at the same spot every year. And the bonbons that were handed around always had a little joke in them, a little novelty item. And I think the year before he'd been really laughing because he used to steal the jokes from the kids that didn't want to read them out loud to the family at the table. And I can't remember the joke, but it was a really silly, basic joke. But he would find the silliest jokes funny and laugh and laugh and laugh. And the following Christmas, it was the first Christmas without him, the same spot, he got the same joke that he'd read the year before and had laughed and laughed about. And that's not the chances of that happening, out of all the bonbons in the world, out of all, even just the random number of 12 chairs that we had around. They're just the little things, those synchronicities, and you just know in that moment, oh, they're with us.
Yeah.
I as well get songs, but I also get dream visitations and I can smell them. And so my grandfather, my grandmother, and my best friend who have transitioned to spirit all have a different smell when I'm sleeping, and it's super strong. My grandmother smells like sweet fresh orange clove, and my grandfather smells like pipe, like tobacco pipe. He used to smoke tobacco pipe. And it's so funny, my best friend, she is African American, and I can smell brown sugar. And I also get songs. I get a song from an ex-boyfriend who's in spirit as well from my best friend. And that's always so nice and comforting in that moment, especially when maybe you just need a little hug, upliftment, or you're deep in thought about something. I feel like it's a nice little nudge to say, maybe get out of your head, it's not that serious, or I'm here for you and I'm giving you that little kiss and warmth that you need for today. So
Oh, that's
anybody else?
With my dad, since the beginning, I haven't gotten that many dreams, but when I've gotten them, it's usually when something is going on and they're very vivid. But I also get with him I get a bluebirds or a blue jay, which is typical here in the area where I live, and it's really pretty, so I know I can feel it, I'm sure you guys can feel it in your heart when it's your loved one. And but songs too, and when you the same with my little sister, who's also in a spirit. There's a song, and it's an old song, from when back in the day. And in particular occasions, it's very yeah, it's just I know it cannot be not her, because it's not just that it's not a very popular or typical song. So when it comes, I know it's her, and it's such a beautiful feeling. It's such a warm feeling, and I always tell people, don't doubt, because that's what happens. I'm sure all of you have had that experience with people, and right now that the holidays are here, and some people have lost people, loved ones, not lost, they're here. I always tell them, you haven't lost them, they're here. But if you feel it in your heart, don't doubt it's them, because it's very tough. Like the first, it's a process, but especially the first, couple of years or so, it's much more difficult, and it's a journey, you never, it never really is like you can heal, but it evolves, it's different. So I think it's important, and just talking to people about our own experiences, I think that's beautiful, because they can relate.
I think too, it's important to say, this just came to me. The experiences you had, if you share them with someone and they don't believe you, it's not our job to convince them, because that sign is for us, because there are non-believers, right? Like I come from a very strict Catholic family, and they believe my dad's gone and that's it. And I'm like, I don't subscribe to that newsletter. That doesn't work for me, because I know his soul lives forever. But I'm also not trying to convince them that signs are real, because that's their belief system, right? So I think it's important, like whatever signs we get from our loved ones, and like Liliana said, if it touches your heart, know it's real. But if the rest of your family members or friends or whoever, they don't believe, that's okay. It's not your job to convince them. It's just your job to be aware that you're the ones coming through for you, and that that's real for you. And Miss Michelle, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, it's so interesting listening to what everybody's saying. I've had those experiences with dreams, with smells. Recently, I will say this, and Maria, I want to say I agree with you that if somebody doesn't believe it and it's your experience, it's okay. They don't have to believe it. I do also want to encourage people, though, if you see a sign and you know it's your sign, you can share it with someone, because maybe it would give them comfort too. Just the other day, literally yesterday, my aunt passed away unexpectedly. My favorite aunt in the whole world passed away unexpectedly a week ago today. And yesterday I was sitting in the doctor's office with her husband. They had been married 69 years. She waited for him to get out of the army. And for 2 years, she waited for him. And when he came back home, they got married. He was telling me about how so many of his people, like the people he knew in the army, got Dear John letters. And he was so grateful that he wasn't one of them, and that she waited for him, and they got married. And we were sitting in the doctor's office, and they also had 2 children. Both children passed away before they did. And we're sitting in the doctor's office waiting, and I'm talking to his niece, and there's only the 3 of us in the room, in the waiting room. There's like one other person with their caregiver sitting over there, and the woman comes in to and yells the name of the next person, And that's my cousin Karen's name. That, like, my grandma used to get us confused all the time. She walks in, she says, Karen, Karen, and it wasn't even anybody in the room. And I looked at Lori and I'm like, you know that his daughter is here. You know it. And then when we left the hospital, we're driving home, and the car in front of us, the license plate was a personalized plate, and it said Jim. That's her son's name. I said, you can't make this up. And
Wow.
and Lori was just, my uncle's niece on the other side. This was never really a big thing for her. She wasn't like skeptical, but she didn't really believe. But just pointing those two things out, she was like, wow, they really are around. I'm like, yes, they're really here. They'll show you, like, you'll hear their name, or you'll hear their favorite song, or some weird thing. You see it on a license plate. You hear it in a waiting room. It means they're there. They're watching over you, and they have never left.
Oh, I love that. And just truly believe in the magic. I'm so about the magic of Christmas and how signs come to you, because they come in so many different ways. Maybe it's a friend talking to you, and because I've had this happen, or I've done this. I don't know if you guys have done this, and you'll say something and you'll be like, I don't even know why I said that. And then that person will be like, well, my loved one used to say that all the time. It's so weird that you said that. That's
Yes.
magic. That's magic of the spirit world, doing anything and everything to get through to you. And I think too, it's important. I was talking to somebody else the other day, and don't do this. If you guys are listening, do not do this. And she was like, I will only believe if I get this sign, and that's it. It's like, don't do that. They're trying hard. They're bringing so many different ways of bringing signs to you. Don't dismiss all the signs because you didn't get the one you're fixated on. Yeah, I don't know how you ladies feel about that, but I saw this girl, I was like, do not do that, because like there's so many signs. Because then you're ignoring all of their hard work in the spirit world trying to get through to you, because you're waiting for that one sign to acknowledge that their soul lives forever. And meanwhile, they're giving you like so many signs. So yeah, and before we go, because I've so enjoyed this conversation, I feel like we could go on for hours and hours. Is there anything coming up as an offer that you ladies have? So I'll go through each one of you. If you offer readings online, and also letting people know this video will be up on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, you want to see what we look like and check out our Christmas attire, going over to YouTube. You can see the elf outfit with Dayna. I'm like Santa Claus. You can see all the beautiful Christmas cheer, and I will have everybody's contact information, websites for you guys to be able to reach out to them, to book readings, and to follow them on social media also. So before we go, is there any last words anybody wants to add? I will start with Dayna.
I offer readings online via Zoom and in person, of course. And I've got a workshop on this weekend that might be a little bit too far for everyone that's listening. However, I do have an online event coming up, Marie, that you'll be co-hosting with myself and Lorraine Coffey, a spiritual artist. So that's something coming up. We're yet to work together now, just because of the passing of your father, to organise those dates. But anyone interested in attending that online event, we will keep the numbers small and have it over the hour and a half to 2 hours. Can email Dayna Louise at outlook.com.au. or of course on Facebook, Dayna Louise, she, S-H-E, and put in your interest, and I'll be sure to get back to you for the event with dates.
Thank you, Dayna. And Liliana.
I actually have both in Spanish and in English, my social media, and I offer, at least once a week, some kind of, like a free demonstration of mediumship in both, so if anybody wants to join me and, maybe get a free reading, because that's what I do, so that's what I'm doing right now. Yes. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Maria.
Thank you. And Keshette.
I do online via Zoom as well as in-person readings. If you want to get a taste of a reading, I will be in 2025 part of the Dallas Psychic Fair, which has been around for 45 years. It's one of the most accredited psychic fairs that we have, and there's all kinds of people there that do palmistry, tarot. I do mediumship and psychic. I just stick to soul, so, or soul to spirit. So yeah, if you want a taste of an appetizer, you can come see me there, or just book one-on-one at www.soulconnections.info.
Oh, that's so cool. So if you guys want to see her in person, follow her on social media and see where she'll be with the psychic fairs. Congratulations, Keshette. That sounds like fun. And Michelle.
So if you follow my Facebook page, Come Home to Your Heart, you will see all the places that I will be in person. I do psychic fairs this past month. It's been every Sunday and a Saturday. I also do live events in Cleveland Heights, which is by me. The last Friday of every month, I have a seance in the cellar event where you can come and be part of that. Online, I am going to be on Thursday, December 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern. If you look at the connection within, I will be part of a group of mediums that will be doing free readings. And I also have a lot of free things online on my Come Home to Your Heart Facebook page, and offer readings, personal readings online through Zoom, which you can book through messaging me on Facebook as well. I do Akashic Records readings. I do past life readings. I do card readings, psychic readings, mediumship readings, pretty much soul purpose, whatever you want.
I love it. So I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. And we are sending everybody big hugs and kisses. And if you guys have any questions, just email the show or any of the ladies on the screen, or if you have a story to share or your Christmas story, we would love to hear it, or how you receive signs from spirit. I would love to hear different ways that people receive it from around the world. It's always so cool to listen to people's stories. So thank you so much for spending this hour with us. Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Maria. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.